from Hydra X. Today I'm here to share some personal experience related to recruiting and building a remote team. Let's start with a brief introduction of my company. Yeah, my company is Hydra X, a Singapore-based startup. We want to build the future of capital markets, and we have developed a platform that makes it easy for you to set up a digital exchange. If you want to have a look at all the services that we provide, you can visit our website at www.hydrax.io. In 2019, we have an issue with the development team. We already have the sales team, a PM team in Singapore, and we also have a product. But the product was not good enough, and we need to improve the quality of the development team. But at that time, well, we could not recruit suitable developers in Singapore because of the cost issue. So one of the solutions is we will recruit a remote development team, and Vietnam was chosen as a good option. By remote team, I mean this, a team of employees or independent contractors who work and live in different geographical locations, but still serve the common business goal of their employer. In that sense, a remote team is different from an outsourced team. In a very important aspect, remote team is the team of your company, but an outsourced team is not. It is a higher team. So when you want to build a remote team, there are 4 groups of considerations that you need to have a look at, short as GRAB. R for reality, A for assumptions, B for benefits, and C, challenges. We will go through them all in that order. Now let's start with the first one, reality. Sorry, I cannot control it, Darryl.
I will control for you.
Yeah. Let's go to the next slide. Yeah, in reality, whether you want it or not, this is something happening. Remote teams are the future in every industry. More and more companies everywhere in the world use more and more remote teams. So the question for you is, do you accept that? Do you accept that reality? The fact that you are here today suggests that to some extent you have already accepted this reality. So we will go to the next one. This is an important assumption. Are you ready to lose? That means, are you ready to be long-term and serious with the remote team that you intend to build? Because building a remote team will cost you time and effort. So if you are not serious enough, I recommend that you should not go further. And when you want to build a remote team, you need to think about long-term. Yeah. Because building a remote team will bring you 3 common group of benefits. First, it offers you a pool of resources. And this is not a local pool of resources, but it is global. And the second thing is, it will help you to save costs in many cases. For example, as Frank showed you in the previous slides, the cost to hire a developer in Singapore is almost double the cost to hire one at the same level in Vietnam. The third benefit is it makes it possible for you to secure your company business better, because now you can have the flexibility to build as many teams as possible. Then you can make your business rely on the suitable talents. As a result, it will be more secure. So one question is, which COCO's benefit do you want the most? Your choice for your answer to this question is very important because it will be the foundation for you to tackle the challenges in the next group of consideration. Yeah, this is the main group of consideration that you have to face. They are COCO Trust HR challenges. The first call represents competitiveness. Now, because you have remote team brings you the global pool of resources, but not only to your company, but to every other company that has the same need from everywhere of the world. For you to be competitive, it will be harder to achieve. You will need to think about everything that you will offer so that you are more competitive than the other that have the same access to this resource pool. What I listed here is some common factors that may make you more competitive. The next challenge is communication. For a remote team to be successful, communication is the key. Everything will center around communication. When you recruit, you need a hiring and onboarding process. You need to think about the language and cultural barriers. And when they have recruited them, you need to think about how to manage them. So you will need to manage your employees, someone who may be on the other side of the globe, and you have very little visibility over them. So how can you make them work as productive as possible to contribute to the growth of your business? It is your duty to organize the communication effectively, and you have to think about that. The next challenge you have to solve is trust. Will you trust someone who works somewhere away from you, out of your sight, more than the one who is working in the same office as you do? Will you give them the same access as you give to the local team? They are the questions that you have to answer all the time. Because over time, the remote team will become a part of your company or not, will depend on this. Trust is very important. So what are the trust level that you have in your organization, and which one will you intend to apply to the remote team? Next, please. The last issues is HR issues. HR is something that are not very visible to your employees all the time, but it is like the back office. It's like logistics. It will happen behind the scene. So HR has to, during the recruitment phase, HR has to work with more CVs. And after that, the law compliance issues, the work time issues, the benefits distribution issues, etc. So you need to think about the HR policy that you will apply to the local and remote teams. Will there be any discriminations between both or not? In general, it will be great if you can eliminate the discrimination, because more and more companies are trying to eliminate that distinction. To make it easy for you to apply the consideration, I have made up these two checklists. And actually, I have used them internally in my company. During recruitment, you need to identify your purpose, and you need to see whether you need a hiring manager or hiring service. You need to be careful with your job description, and you need to think about the way that allows the candidates to communicate with your team. Then you also need to be specific about the expectations and the offers for the candidates. And when you manage them, you also need to consider whether you will use the internal HR in your headquarter company, or will you use an HR service like TechGDI. So far, we're still using HR service because that is better for us. We are also growing the team in Singapore, and for the Vietnam side, it will be easier to use an HR service because they offer a lot of local compliance that the Singapore team has not had enough bandwidth for. But one aspect, oh sorry. One main thing you have to do all the time is communicate. Again, communicate is the key. You have to communicate all the time to make sure that the remote teams know that they are a part of your company. Otherwise, they may leave you sometimes, and it will be very late before you realize that. So I hope that I have shown you how craft considerations are important to recruiting and building a remote team. If you want to have more information, you can have a look at other point of views via the references. Yeah. And finally, thank you for your listening.